What if I told you that the next BITS Pilani might already exist? And most parents in India haven't even heard of it yet. Back in 1960s, BITS Pilani did something genuinely radical. While rest of the Indian engineering education was running on the colonial era playbook, one terrifying year-end exam deciding your entire fate, BITS partnered with the MIT and tore that script apart. They introduced the semester system. They replaced the make or break exam with regular quizzes and assignments so that you actually have chances to course correct. They brought in relative grading system, open electives across humanities and dual degree programs, and admissions based purely on merit. No reservations, no management quota. And the crown jewel, practice school. Those mandatory semester-long industry internships that gave students a real-world exposure decades before industry-ready became a buzzword. 60 years later, most public and private universities in India still haven't caught up, no matter what the rankings say. But recently, I had the pleasure of visiting a young university with bold ambitions of its own. And I think the timing is perfect for Plaksha University to show rest of the India how STEM education is executed for the future. So let's dive in. Quick disclosure before I go further. I'm actually a second generation BITS Pilani alumni and an Ivy League graduate. So trust me, I've seen the best education systems both in India and abroad. I'm also a career counselor and admissions consultant, which means part of my job is to actually visit universities and get a real feel beyond the glossy brochures so that I can guide my students better. For me, there are three metrics that genuinely matter for evaluating any university: curriculum, pedagogy, and the ecosystem. Let's put Plaksha through all these three. Coming to curriculum, Plaksha follows a liberal STEM model, something that very few universities across the world offer and almost none in India. So what does that even mean? At its core, liberal education is what actually existed before the Industrial Revolution turned universities into degree printing factories. Students came to learn foundations and explore different fields like science, arts, history, politics, etc. and then decide on what they want to specialize in. The advantage is huge. You get breadth before depth. And historically, the biggest scientific breakthroughs and political ideas came through people who could think across fields and not just in a single silo. That's exactly what Plaksha embraces. You don't declare a major when you join. You get 3 long semesters to explore and take varied courses, figure out what genuinely resonates with you, and then declare a major. And when it's time to commit, Plaksha offers 4 BTech degrees in genuinely futuristic fields: computer science and AI, robotics and autonomous systems, biological systems engineering, data science, economics, and business. This is bold, this is unique, and honestly, this is what Indian education system needs to embrace if you want to prepare students for the jobs for next 20 years, but not the last 20 years. So why does liberal STEM matter so much? Because every technological leap that happened today happens at the intersection of multiple fields. Take the example of an EV. It's not just a mechanical engineering project anymore. It's mechanical, electronics, chemistry for the batteries, and AI and computer science for the autonomy. And tomorrow, if you want to find an alternative fuel to replace petroleum, biotechnology can be pulled in too. Healthcare, AI, quantum computing, space technologies, pick any frontier. The future belongs to the interdisciplinary problem solvers. The old industrial era model of mechanical engineering in one building, electrical engineering in another building is simply outdated. This interdisciplinary thinking is Plaksha's single biggest advantage. Coming to pedagogy, a bold curriculum is one thing, but actually executing is a completely different ballgame. For that, you need leadership and faculty who are themselves out of the box. When I researched about the leadership and also interacted with them personally, the picture got very clear. Plaksha was built under the collective philanthropy of multiple business leaders and educational pioneers, and it shares its DNA with the Indian School of Business and Ashoka University, both world-class in their respective domains. And the captain of the ship, the Vice Chancellor, Dr. Rudra Pratap, lovingly called RP by faculty and students, is no ordinary man. He's a Cornell PhD, and during his time at IISc Bangalore, he established India's and Asia's first nanoelectronics laboratory, a facility that deliberately blurs out the line between electronics, material science, and biology, to push through breakthroughs in fields like biorobotics and neuroelectronics. After researching him and actually spending time with him, one thing became pretty obvious to me. His curriculum was decades in the making. This is not a startup university that is experimenting with ideas. This is built by someone who's been thinking and implementing interdisciplinary education in STEM fields for most of his career. The faculty hiring is just as intentional. Take Dr. Prakash Singh, for example, who heads the Data Science, Economics and Business Department. He has his bachelor's, master's and PhD all from London School of Economics in economics. taught for 6+ years in one of the top liberal arts colleges in the US, and then spent years as a senior economist at Amazon, leading some of the most genuinely interesting projects before joining Plaksha. When I was talking to him, he shared a fascinating anecdote, a research idea that he worked on at Amazon that correlated the position of the sun during the day with prime viewership patterns. The data then Amazon could use to refine its content recommendation system. I mean, think about that single project sits at the intersection of astronomy, business economics, behavioral economics, data science, and product strategy. That is the kind of minds teaching at Plaksha. And it's just not him, various department heads and faculties across departments who have the same hybrid DNA. Serious academic credentials combined with serious industry depth. Now, the third pillar, and arguably one of the hardest to fake. The physical resources at Plaksha are genuinely top class. Modern laboratories, well-stocked libraries, maker spaces, and an active entrepreneurship cell, all of it built in a standard that you expect from a top international university. But what really blew me away is something that I hadn't seen anywhere in India. Their Center for Thinking, Language and Communication, CLTC. This is a dedicated facility built around simple realization. Every great engineer and tech entrepreneur eventually has to communicate. He or she has to pitch ideas, present to investors, and lead teams. Every student spends meaningful time at CLTC as a part of their curriculum. Their presentations and chats and discussions are all recorded by high-end cameras, and they get live structured feedback on body language, tone, and pacing. All of it delivered in a positive, reassuring way. Honestly, you have to see it yourself to appreciate how well it has been thought out. And then there's the student culture, which is my favorite part. In a single afternoon, I met robotics students who are working on precision drones for agriculture, data science students working on satellites and Mars rovers projects, students who are back from research programs at foreign universities, and others who have landed offers at top consulting firms like BCG. What struck me is not just their ambition, but all of them seem to be having a genuine good time while they're doing it. Ambitious, self-motivated, rigorous for sure, but not burnt out. That balance is rare. And then there is this one moment at Plaksha that I experienced that sums up the entire Plaksha ecosystem. It was around 7 p.m. and I was sitting down at their on-campus cafe winding down. Through the glass, I could see students still in the lab, deeply engrossed in their projects. And in one corner, I found a professor and a student hunched down on a laptop together, eating their dinner together, and the professor was clearly helping the student in solving some problem of his project. That image stayed with me. Because in many Indian universities, the relationship between a professor and a student is hierarchical, transactional, and ends the moment the classes are over. What I saw at Plaksha was entirely collaborative, casual, and genuinely invested. This is what an ecosystem should look like. The leadership, the faculty, the students, all of them are driven and passionate, and all of them are together. Honestly, India needs hundreds, if not thousands, of such institutions. If we really want to channel the talent of our young population to become pioneers in their fields. Honestly, I can talk on and on for 20 minutes about their campus placements, industry partnerships, study abroad programs with universities like UC Berkeley and Purdue, etc., etc. But then these are all like toppings on the pizza. The real thing is this: students who graduate out of Plaksha walk out as interdisciplinary problem solvers with good communication skills. And let's be honest, who wouldn't want to hire someone like that? It's no surprise that the placement records speak for themselves. If you're a student or a parent listening to this, here's my honest take. Plaksha is not trying to be the next IIT, it's trying to be something that India hasn't seen before. And I think it's pulling it off. If you have any questions about Plaksha admissions, drop them in the comments below and I'll get back to you. I'm Jay Surya, founder of Project Ivy, and I help students get across top universities in India and abroad. If you're thinking about career counseling and admission guidance, do reach out to me. The links are in the description. See you in the next video.